Good morning. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this fine Monday morning, Monday the 13th of July. Who's all heading to Portugal tomorrow? And who's looking forward to seeing Celtic in the sun? Celtic in the sun in Portugal. Anyway, Mark Fotheringham, Fozzie. Not you, you little monster. Fozzie is the man behind. Well, we're all wondering how Celtic managed to get the Hearts coach, the Hearts set piece coach. And it turned out that it was Mark Fotheringham. Mark Fotheringham knew Ross Grant. He knew that he was going to be leaving Hearts. He got word of obviously the fact that it was Derek McInnes was going to be leaving Hearts, so he was going to be leaving Hearts, and the rest to say is history. Celtic knew that our Gavin laptop lifestyle guy, laptop Gav, he was leaving, and Martin O'Neill said there was one thing for it: let's get him in, and that was it. It was as simple as that. When you think about it, Martin O'Neill thinks that having a set piece coach isn't something that would have happened during his time. Definitely not at his time, the first time round. But Martin O'Neill has been reminiscing. He's been reminiscing about the past at Celtic. He's been reminiscing about Henrik Larsson's last season. And is Martin O'Neill on the verge of falling into a trap that the board would love him to fall into? Martin O'Neill's been speaking about it over the last couple of days, and he now thinks it is unlikely, but he has been speaking about the fact that, maybe I would really like some players to stay, talking about Daizen Maeda, and then putting in the parallel of what a fantastic season. Martin O'Neill knew, he said, he knew that Henrik Larsson, it was going to be his last season. He could have got rid of him. He could have sold him the season before. He knew it was going to be his last season at Celtic. He wanted him to go out on a high. He wants Daizen Maeda to go out on that high also. I think that Daizen Maeda would go out on a high after just winning the double. I don't want Martin O'Neill to try and hold on to these players. Martin O'Neill has confirmed that we've had several bids for our players, but no one has been sold as yet. Now, are the bids too low? Are Celtic trying to convince the players to stay? Is Martin O'Neill trying to convince players to stay? It's a very Celtic situation. If there's players in and it's not what we're looking for, open up the negotiations and get rid of the players as quick as possible so that we can get other players in. I feel that Martin O'Neill, if he does go down the road of trying to convince Daizen Maeda to stay, trying to convince Arne Engels to stay, I don't want to say it, but Celtic should take the money and run. A lot of Celtic fans do not rate Arne Engels, and if we get anywhere near 25 million for Arne Engels, we should take it all day long. Some people would say we should try and build a team around Arne Engels. Maybe getting rid of Callum McGregor would be the better option. Get rid of Callum McGregor and keep Arne Engels. Callum McGregor, Martin O'Neill's want to have a word with him due to the fact that he's changed agent. Now, the thing is it's a funny situation with Callum. He has 2 years remaining on his contract. Celtic do not have to give him a wage increase. If Callum McGregor wants to leave Celtic, and there's a bid that comes in for him that's acceptable to Celtic, should they take it? Maybe that should be the poll question this morning. Let's do that. Should... This is going to be an interesting one. I've got a funny feeling that there'll be a lot of people who will say yes, but should, the poll question this morning is, should Celtic take any offer for Calmac and move him on this summer? Now, I don't think that there's anyone captain ready at the club as it stands. That's just my own personal opinion. People would say you've got people like Alistair Johnston, you've got Cameron Carter-Vickers there, but we're now getting close to the beginning of the season. If we were to try and get in a midfield general now, we're getting we're at the other end of the summer now, Martin. Do you know we're only weeks away from the start of the season? If there are players that are going to leave the club, we really need to be moving this week because I don't want Martin O'Neill falling into the trap. Falling into the trap of getting towards the end of the transfer window, getting to the game on the 18th of August in the Champions League and winning that game and then maybe trying to get players in all too late. What happened to the Celtic board listening to the fans? What happened to the Celtic board making sure that they weren't going to fall into the same trap as last year? I really want Martin O'Neill to have the most successful season ever as a Celtic manager this year. But I've got the funny feeling that Martin O'Neill, whilst he may not be covering up, are you having a laugh, Fozzie? Get off the chair. I swear to God, I'm going to kill this cat. Chaos is doing that this late in the day. I think that the fact that I mean, I'm struggling with that poll as well because I think that Callum should stay at Celtic, but Martin O'Neill saying, right, cats, I swear to God, should have locked them in another room. I think that the fact that Martin O'Neill says, I want to talk to Calmac. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He doesn't need to speak to him at all. You've got to remember, Martin O'Neill said that Callum McGregor's just another player. When Callum McGregor said that Celtic need to meet my ambitions, need to meet Callum McGregor's ambitions, really? Is he that important a captain? Is he better than Paul Lambert? Is he better than Roy Aitken? Is he better than Tommy Burns? Is he better than Paul McStay? Is he better than Neil Lennon? Is he better than Scott Brown? As a player and as a captain? I don't think that Celtic should be going to Callum McGregor and saying, you've got 2 years left in your contract, we're going to give you a wage rise. That's not the way that works. If an offer comes in for Callum McGregor, should Celtic take it? And should it just be, right, see you later, go and enjoy yourself. So that's what you want, that's what you want. And I'm only saying that purely for the fact that Martin O'Neill said at the end of last season, and you've got to remember that interview, Martin was furious. Martin was furious with Callum McGregor. So is that what he said? He's just going to remind me who he is. He's just a player. He's just like any other player, said Martin O'Neill. And I don't think that Martin O'Neill or Celtic should be going with a begging bowl or a big pay increase to Callum McGregor just to keep him happy and keep him at the club. It's just my opinion. It doesn't matter who he's better than. None of those players are here at the moment, says Liam. I don't think that you ever had... Liam, I'm putting it into perspective. I don't think that you ever had a Neil Lennon, a Paul Lambert, Paul McStay, Tommy Burns, Scott Brown ever coming out and saying, the club need to meet my ambitions. Never. I don't think that we ever have. Hence the reason that Martin O'Neill was furious that day and reminded Callum McGregor that he's just a player. He may be captain of the club, but he is just a player. Life goes on after players. Life went on after Henrik Larsson. Martin O'Neill talking about Henrik Larsson and talking about Daizen Maeda. The bigger picture of this transfer window is Daizen Maeda, is Rio Hatate, is Arne Engels. If those are the three players that we've had offers in for as it stands, Celtic need to get the ball moving. We sit today on the 13th of July. We play the second friendly in our pre-season fixture in 1 day and 8 hours time. Usually by this time of pre-season, Jesus, wrong screen. Usually at this time of the season, you're trying to get the team up to a bit of pace now. Do you know, you've got 3 games before the start of the season. You're starting to work on the tactics, change of formations. If we're introducing new tactics and a new formation for the start of the season, we have only introduced one new player. One new player. Martin O'Neill says that he wanted the players in quick so they could have a full pre-season at Celtic. Martin O'Neill said that we've had offers in for players. You currently have players at Celtic that will know that they have had offers for them. Is it Rio Hatate? Is it Arne Engels? Dies Maeda's not back yet. Could be other players within the squad, but because of the threadbare nature of the squad at Celtic, they can't allow them to leave as yet. The fact is that we're so close to the start of the season now. Do you know, we're all thinking about the World Cup, and we're thinking about the World Cup final and well, maybe not one of the semi-finals, but the fact that we are 1, 2, 3 weekends away from the start of the season. Our first game of the season is 3 weeks today. There's only 2 more Mondays in between. We wanted to give the board time. We wanted to sit back, and they said to us that they would get things in action, that it was going to be a busy few weeks. You remember the chairman, the stand-in chairman, said it's going to be a busy few weeks at Celtic. It's going to be interesting if we can get any more information tomorrow. I don't think that we'll get that close to Martin O'Neill, but we can but try. We can but try. And we'll take it from there. Because I think that there's a lot of questions that, you know, there seems to be stuff coming out from Portugal that's getting spoken to Celtic journalists by Martin. And I'm starting to get nervous now about, and I was the one that was saying, right, let's just hold off. Let's see if we can progress. We didn't really progress last week. And I think that I was maybe hoping that I was taking Celtic. I'm going to be honest with you all. I was taking Celtic by their word. I fell for the trap, and I don't want Martin O'Neill falling for the trap. Trying to hang on to players that ultimately the board, as soon as an offer of 25 million comes in for Arne Engels, boom, he's out the door. He's gone. As soon as a £5 million offer comes in for Rio Hatate, boom, he's gone. As soon as £20 million comes in for Dies Maeda, boom, he's gone. We're now chasing our tail. Only 3 weeks today to the first game of the season. Players aren't learning the new formations, aren't learning any new tactical parts that we're bringing into the game. The whole reason that you bring in the guy from Hibs is so that we could start scoring from corners. Can start, if our players go down and we get a free kick outside the box, we can start scoring from them. All this work should be done during the summer. All your set piece plays should be practiced again and again and again. Corners, practice and practice and practice. Different tactical things from corners, don't know, should all be practiced during pre-season. If we've not got the players in that we want, with 2 weeks to go, what are we expecting for the season ahead? I still think it'll be a successful season for Celtic. I still think that Celtic will win the league. I still think that Celtic will get into the Champions League. But as it stands, Martin O'Neill's fallen into a trap. How much money do you think we could get for McGregor? Is anybody paying double-figure millions? I think that Callum McGregor's valuation now is around about 5 million. Callum McGregor. He was valued at one point. Oh, his valuation is now £2 million according to transfer marks. And there you go. And they're usually not too far off when it comes to their yeah. His contract runs out in 2028. At the height, his valuation was 9 million, and it's just going down and down and down and down and down. You would be lucky to get 2 million for him. That's sad. Born in 1993. I was getting pure mad with it in 1993. I heard the missus laughing there as well. So was she. 1993. Oh, you were living in Greece. I was, yeah, I'd been doing lots of gigs in the rave scene that year. 93, 94, 95. Mental. Good old days. As I say, right, we move on. Get virtually peanuts for Calmac. He's a pretty bad player. He likely meant the ambitions we all share. But what are the ambitions that we all share? To get into the Champions League? Is it just to win the treble? Because the ambitions of the club is just to maintain dominance in Scottish football. Although they've never come out and said it since Peter Lawwell left. The club haven't even told us what the ambitions are. Sorry. At least Peter Lawwell used to stand up at the AGM and tell us, to know that the ambitions of the club is to maintain our dominance over Scottish football. Playing to the crowd, Peter. Well done. We don't know what the current ambitions of the current incumbents of the board are because they don't tell us and they don't talk to us. Do our foreign players fully respect Calmac? I would say yeah, because he's the one that they kind of listen to, and when it comes to the club, maybe not in a player sense. If we want to sell him, we need a replacement. Mic drop moment for Martin O'Neill, Baz. Do you think? I think it is, isn't it? I think it's Martin O'Neill. Is this? We've had this before with Brendan Rodgers when he was in America a few seasons ago doing pre-season. Brendan Rodgers turned around to the amassed media and said, "Go and ask Michael Nicholson and Chris Mackay what's going on because they're the ones that are doing the deals." Maybe this is kind of Martin O'Neill being clever about the way that he's talking about it, being clever about the way, whilst not to name names and not to come out and be Brendan Rodgers-esque and say it's fucking that lot upstairs. Martin O'Neill's got too much respect for Dermot Desmond and too much respect for Celtic to do that. So maybe his way of doing it is by coming out and saying, we're clearly going to have a conversation with Callum McGregor. He obviously knows what's going on. He obviously knows that Brendan Rodgers, and the fact that he now has this agent that works in Dubai, people put two and two together and come up with boom. If there has been any kind of conversation from Brendan and Callum, well, you know what's going to happen. He's going to end up wanting to go, isn't he? If he does want to go, my question is should we just take the money and run now? Let me see what the poll says. Quite a lot of votes in this morning. Should Celtic take any offer for Calmac and move him on? 58% say yes and 42% say no. It's interesting because for a player that's came through the system like Callum has and played with so... Maybe when Callum said meet the ambitions, maybe it's just the standard of player. Maybe that was an indirect way of Callum McGregor saying, look, the quality of the player in the midfield has been nowhere near what it was when I was a younger player in my early 20s. Maybe that's what Callum, and maybe we're misunderstanding what Callum really wants in the midfield is better quality players. We don't know. 1993, I was still in Hong Kong. Only go home to watch Celtic if I'm lucky to get a ticket. Watching the game by myself like an old sad bastard, says Keith. Well, let's jump into it. Carmack is 30 odd. He should be told no. Yeah, you have bring in a younger, stronger player. If Carmack decides, says Mo, to take the move, then best of luck to him. Our best midfielder and captain since Paul McStay. Is he? Mr. Pointy Pointy. Is he better than Bruni? Is he better than Neil Lennon at breaking down play? Is he better than Paul Lambert, who won the Champions League? That's an interesting one, though. Mo, you think he's better than he's our best midfield and captain since Paul McStay? He doesn't break the game down like Scott Brown. I don't think he. That's an interesting one. I'd love to see somebody out there is bound to have the stats on both players and over the space of their careers. I mean, he's a good player, but Scott Brown could read the game, as could Neil Lennon. And Neil Lennon wasn't the most fantastic player, but he would see where the passes were going to go, and he'd get in there and nail the player before going forward. Callum McGregor doesn't really do that as much, and Callum McGregor gets pushed off the ball a lot, gets bullied off the ball. Don't know, he's not got the physical side of the game that Scott Brown had, Neil Lennon, maybe not so much Paul Lambert, definitely not Paul McStay, but that's an interesting one. No players bigger than the club has. No, they are not. Callum already knows this club ambitions, so anything he says is bull. To be fair, he's been here long enough. If he's been here long enough, what does that say about James Forrest? Just saying. We are going to be nowhere near ready for the start of the season. It is a hard one because we're still missing so many players. When you look at the squad and the players that still haven't returned from World Cup duties, I mean, we still only have the two goalkeepers in play. We don't have right. Could you come and get these pair? Right, go and bugger off, two yous. Fozzie. Right, no, get. I swear to God, you do that one more time. They're now fighting each other. I should have locked them in another room. Right, we still only have the two goalkeepers at play at Celtic. We've got Rocky. We're still unsure what the situation is with Rocky. Is he going to stay at the club? Is he going to be loaned out? Alistair Johnston's still on holiday. Austin Trusty, is still on holiday. Tony Ralston and Kieran Tierney aren't back for this game. Will they be back next week for the games at Celtic Park? It looks like it. We have not strengthened the defence at all. Don't know, it's the same defence that we've had for several years now. We haven't made the defence better one iota. The club might think that we're a bit top heavy in defenders, and that's the reason that they haven't brought anyone in as yet. They're maybe waiting to see if Rocky leaves. If Rocky leaves the club, we will need to bring in a defender. It's whether Martin O'Neill thinks that Rocky is good enough. And to be fair, we paid £4.3 million for him, so he should be good enough for Celtic. When you look at the midfield, even if we're playing a midfield three, Benji Negron isn't back yet. Paolo Bernardo's still there. Does Martin O'Neill really rate Paolo Bernardo? Rio Hatate wants away, and Arne Engels wants away. If those two players want away, we need to bring in two other players. I think if Callum McGregor leaves as well, that's a big bloody hole in the middle of our midfield. It's just all speculation about Callum McGregor. But I would like to think, I would really like to think that if Callum McGregor and Brendan Rodgers had been having conversations, they would do the right thing by Celtic and get it done way early before the end of the transfer window. Because if Callum McGregor gets to the end of the transfer window and then up sticks and buggers off to Dubai, he will go down like a lead brick in the estimations of Celtic fans, in my opinion. When you look at we've still got Balak Wisher. He is not the answer. Jota's out until Jalember, sometime November. Yang is on holiday still from the World Cup exploits. He's not going to be here for the Glasgow Derby, so we're going to have to bring in another winger. We haven't done that. Shin Yamada, is he really the answer? Callum Osmond's too young to worry about. He's a fantastic option for the future. Johnny Kenny's not yet fit. Martin O'Neill doesn't know if Johnny Kenny's going to be at Celtic or if he's going to go back to Bolton permanently. Sebastian Tenecti. He still isn't back from the World Cup as yet, but he is a player that frustrates the living hell out of us because he doesn't take on a man on the wing. Dice Maeda wants to leave, and Martin O'Neill's trying to say that they're just trying to stay. And we're going to end up with James Forrest. Now a minute, somebody's missing. Who's missing off Odomon, Adam Montgomery? Who else was on loan that isn't on the first team sheet anymore? Whoa, who have we missed? B team. I mean, look at the B team. It has 4 defenders. We're talking about the B team should be... The B team's an even bigger mess than the first team. 4 defenders, that's it. 4 defenders. Kyle Lowry, Jude Bonner, Sean McArdle, they should all be knocking on the door of the first team, if you ask me, this season. And then... just young kids, aren't they? Really young. What a fine Monday morning we're having today. Just getting ready for Portugal tomorrow. Anyway, right, let's jump through some of the comments before we finish up this morning. When Rocky returned to training, he was all smiles. That doesn't look like a player who wants to move on. Hopefully, Martin O'Neill has encouraged him to stay. I don't think that it's encouraged him to stay. I mean, it was Brendan Rodgers that said he wasn't good enough. That's the disappointing fact. You know, Brendan Rodgers brought him in for 4.3 million or whatever it was. Keith Roberts says we should have got cash out and brought Lennon Miller long ago. We should have been preparing to replace Calmac a year or 2 ago and not waiting until now. I think that's why Paulo Bernardo was brought in, but Paulo Bernardo just doesn't seem to have upped his game. I would not blame McGregor. The lad has given millions to this club. He has. And I wouldn't blame McGregor for wanting to go. I don't think he would really... Is his agent just playing agents, just doing agent stuff? You know, putting it out there that's, yeah, we've spoke to Brendan. Yeah. Celtic don't have to give him a wage rise. He's got 2 years left on his contract. You know, maybe if he feels that, you know, Saudi Rodgers is in. Well, I knew it was one of the countries. It's all the same. It's all the same. It's not in Europe. It says James that Saudi's in. Anyway, who cares? I don't really care where Rodgers is, to be honest. 3 weeks tonight is our first game. Yes, Gary, it is 3 weeks tonight. And the first team Doesn't look any different. It's I'm not worrying as yet, but I just think it goes against everything. I'm now no longer going to listen to a Celtic manager. If any Celtic manager in the future says, I want to get players in and get them a good pre-season, what happened to, I want to get Kelechi a good pre-season? That deal's still not even been done yet. An easy deal that should have been done weeks ago. If we wanted to keep Kelechi in the actual, keep him. Get the pre-season done. Get the new tactics into the player. Get the new formations into the player. We're going to go into the season playing 4-3-3. And the players that play the 4-3-3 will revert back to the side to side piss pass boring football. But anyway, this is Callum should speak to Jota about moving to Saudi. And Jota will say, do it. I got 10 million for being there 2 years, mate, and I hardly played football. Of course, Jota's going to say, do it. Jota's in no rush to come back to Celtic. He's like, I've got 10 million in the bank, tax free, I don't care. We'd all be the same. Oh, jeez. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, man, my knee. My knee. Money. No, he's not saying his knee. He's shouting money. Anyway, Rodgers had 10 foreigners on the books. Can't have any more. Where's this heat wave? Went out yesterday in shorts and t-shirt. Was shivering. Came up the road. A heat wave at 25 degrees is not a heat wave. Don't get me started on the bullshit that's coming out of the UK. Honestly, I'm sweating my arse off here at 29 degrees, and it's only early morning. He's no nothing the heat waves. Cash in on them all and go big for the rebuild. Miller, Ferguson. There's no way we're going for Lewis Ferguson. No way. Martin is a yes man for Dermot, keeping Dermot happy and trying to keep the fans happy. The only one that had a good go at it was Ange. Yeah. Yeah. But then even Ange saw the limitations of Celtic. And I've said this many times, Ange turned around. It was Ange that got the board thinking about, do you know, what's the difference between buying in a £10 million player, selling them on for 30? Instead of this buying in, you know, cheaper players and try to turn them on and turn them over for more money. Somebody's going to snip that, aren't they? Anyway, it's down to Nicholson and Co. We're not getting players in. I think that we will get them in. Don't know. Chris says, hail, hail, all you piss week morning Celtic supporters. Chris is happy that we're 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away tonight for the end of the season and we've got new players in. Chris is over the moon. Chris is probably stoned in Australia right now. Oh, I'm going to get a nasty message from him later. Monday, I wonder why. Trying to spoil our party. No, it's because of the Commonwealth Games finishes up on the Sunday, and there's got things on at the Commonwealth Games at the arena over the road for Celtic, where Celtic buses all park, and Celtic couldn't take over the car park because there is an event on. At the rate, Balak will be starting this season in the team. It's 29 degrees and pissing down here, says Liam. Do you do the same as what I do, Liam? When it rains, you just go out and go, oh, it's fucking great, man. You just stand in the piss in the rain, and then you got all your neighbours looking at you going, fucking mad Scotsman, look at him standing out there in the fucking rain. Crazy, man. Yes. All this Martin has too much respect for Dermot. He's a break. What do you mean he's a yes man? Where's Desmond's respect for the fans? Of course he is. Calmark will stay. I think he will stay. Weather warning here in Erie for 26 degrees. He's a break, man. 26 degrees and it's a weather warning. Seriously? It was 40 degrees in parts of you've just seen the wildfires we've got here. It's 40 degrees, 40 odd plus degrees. Not there yet. I'm smart enough to recognise the Celtic way, says Chris. Right. Yeah, I have done before, says Liam. Yeah. It's usually once it gets to, sometimes rains here in September. September's our sort of wet month. And then February, March, rainy season. Why do they have cats down? And as soon as it comes rainy season, it's just, beauty. A little bit of rain. Right, that's me done and dusted for today. Tomorrow, I'm not sure how I'm going to manage to do the live first thing in the morning. I might have to do a pre-recorded, as I will be on my way to Portugal. And either that or we try and do one on the road. I don't think that'll work out though. But there may be a pre-recorded video tomorrow morning. And then there'll be a couple of lives from Portugal. Maybe from the training camp, but definitely from the stadium. So make sure that you check out them. We're not in Spain. 2 sunny days in a row and it's a heat wave. Yeah, this is true, isn't it? Callum across will probably leave, as so many oil workers do. His family will stay home. Yeah, maybe. Who cares? Anyway, have a fantastic day. Grey, overcast, and cool breeze coming in the window. Oh, Gav boy. Don't know if I do the grey. I can't do the grey. I like bright blue skies every day. Clear skies, no cloud. I can't do that. I can't. It just, it's so. Anyway, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.